We all have times where we are not at our best, whether it is caused by going through something difficult personally, or it just seemed to happen, or if you're struggling with a global pandemic. Life is not just an endless series of days that are better than yesterday. If you're new here, my name is Jarle, and on Early Owl, we learn to accept our bad days. For most of last year and the beginning of this year, I was doing pretty well when it came to living up to all of my different goals and habits. But I definitely started to see a downward trend of this when it came to the summer months and a bit later in the year. It hasn't been all bad. I've been able to post a YouTube video every week, and even though I would have liked to put in more effort into each video, at least me doing it weekly is something I'm happy with. And similarly with work, I've mostly been able to kind of keep up with the demands that I'm met with, even though it hasn't been perfect and I haven't done everything as well or as good as I wanted to. I've still not fallen completely behind there. But in other areas, like I'm trying to learn the piano, or say with my exercise or diet, or learning how to draw, I've definitely fallen a bit behind in the last couple of months. And you know what? That's okay. It's not how I would have liked things to go, and I'm not giving up on any of these things, so it's hopefully not how things will continue to go in the future. But I'm also not going to lose any sleep over it. Well, except the sleep I might lose over not having the perfect sleep schedule. It's easy to get fixated on some ideal of what you should be spending your time on, or what you should be working towards, or maybe even worse, what results you should be getting. And while I think it's a good thing to be vaguely aware of what you want to be doing and how you want to be working in terms of optimizing your life, you should also be aware that these things are ideals and things to strive for, and it's not something, no matter who you are, that you're going to just be able to keep up indefinitely and always be doing. So even if you're failing at doing something, that doesn't mean that you should feel terrible about it. And this is not about accepting less or accepting being in a bad place in life, but more just accepting where you are right now, regardless of where that might be. How I like to think of this is kind of similar to a graph on the stock market. There's a bunch of different things that could impact this. Maybe there's just something that's completely unpredictable or seems kind of random to everyone that just causes something to go down. Maybe there's major shifts in the economy where the entire stock market is going down. Maybe the company or some related industry had some horrible accident and then that just causes it to go down. Basically, the point is that there's always going to be some major factors, often that are quite unpredictable or outside of your control, that impacts how well you're doing. And you can't just magically overpower these forces. If you're just feeling bad one day, or you go through some horrible event at work, or for whatever reason, even if you have no idea what's going on, you're just feeling less motivated than usual, then you can't just always expect yourself to push through everything and just be at your best self every day. But what you can do is just add some slight upwards momentum on the general direction of where you're going. You've probably seen those graphs about how you need to improve 1% a day, and that will just lead to massive results over time. And I do agree with that general sentiment, and I realize that whoever made these graphs aren't using it as an accurate representation of reality. But I do still think that this can leave people with a bit of the wrong impression of what it should look like when you're trying to improve yourself. It is not that every day is necessarily going to be slightly better than the last. How I like to think of it instead is that you can maybe add 1% each day. So even if you have a minus 19% day, if you change that to a minus 18% day, then that's still an improvement. To use a specific example, let's say you're trying to go on a diet and lose weight. The obvious best case scenario here is just that you stick to the diet and you lose the weight and everyone's happy. But let's say you have a bad day and then you want to cheat on your diet, and then you go to the supermarket and you buy some candy. In kind of the medium case scenario here, you manage to kind of limit how much candy you're buying and how much you're eating, and then you slow down your descent from maybe minus 10% to minus 5%. And that's still a win in some sense. And the scenario worse than that, but I still don't think it's horrible or something that you need to beat yourself up over, is if you have a day where you just don't care about the percentages, you don't care about the diet or losing weight, you just go all out and you just buy and eat as much candy as you can afford or as you can fit or whatever. The one important thing, I think, is just to not give up on the goal and do your best of working towards that. Even if your best right now is nothing, as long as you have that general idea I want to lose weight, And today was just a bad day and I just made some mistakes, but I'll try again tomorrow. And even if tomorrow is another big mistake, I'll still have that goal of what I want to be working towards. Because as long as you have that goal to work towards, then you're always on your path to reaching it in some sense, no matter how many detours or problems you have along the way. How this tends to work for me, and I think it's fairly universal, is that if I have a specific goal I want to work towards, then I'll have good periods and bad periods, but over time, as I apply myself and I learn more, the good periods become slightly better and the bad periods become slightly less bad. And even though it's not an exact linear trend, there is definitely just a positive trend upwards. I'm not 100% sure what the point of this video is. I guess I just felt like making it. I'll link to a playlist of some videos that you can maybe watch if you are going through a suboptimal time right now, and hopefully there will be something useful there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Wednesday.